Did you spend your entire high school career eschewing fun and risk only to treat having your parents going away for a week as a chance to dump daddy's Porsche in Lake Michigan? Did said Porsche dump occur because a sex worker you were shacking up with accidentally nudged the car into neutral while you were all licking on ice cream cones stoned out of your gourd? Did trouble come a-knockin' on your parents' cloistered suburban door in the not especially intimidating frame of Guido the Killer Pimp, just when your parents were supposed to be arriving back home? If so, you may have just skidded across a foyer floor to Bob Seger in your tidy whities and into the Unkind Rewind, where we watched the 1983 Tom Cruise breakout hit, Risky Business.
Thrill me.
I'm gonna name you Coda. You get a name too, Podo.
His name is Happy Harry Hardon. He's a total sex maniac.
Of course.
Greetings from the North Star State, where I, Josh Dugan, have been poring over the dark realms of the internet, trying to find a replacement Steuben crystal egg for my materialistic mother. Welcome to the Unkind Rewind, where each week we put at risk and exploit the fond childhood memories of our guests, potentially ruining their childhood in the process. As ever, I am joined by my co-host, Sean McGrath. Sean, have you been strong-arming underclassmen into paying for sex to pay for the fish stench to get removed from your daddy's car?
One of the best body shops in Chicago, by the way, that can pull a completely submerged Porsche out of Lake Michigan and return it to pristine status. Check their reviews on Yelp. They really do back up their guarantees. Yeah, Josh, boy, I'm trying to strong arm as many of these jocular high school students as I can. I am looking for a pair of Wayfarers, though, because I really feel like that is instrumental in any type of coercion.
Yeah. You've also got to have them if you're going to get into Princeton.
Yeah. Hell, I wasn't even admitted into the University of Illinois.
On the line this week, we are joined by the incomparable Scott Lucas. Scott, have you been carrying your weight in future enterprisers, or has Bronson Pinchot been pretty peeved at you?
He's been a little peeved, but our memo maker, we made a profit of about $14 on it, so it's a start.
Everything starts somewhere. Scott, why don't you tell the listeners who manhandled the school nurse and got suspended last week and missed your Q's and T's installment a little bit about yourself?
My name is Scott Lucas. I have known Josh for, I don't know how long I've known you, 15 years at least, somewhere in that range, maybe.
Yeah.
You used to work at the Crown and Anchor, a bar I frequented at that time. Still go there once in a while. But to the extent that anybody knows me, it's mostly for baseball. I used to write for ESPN, and now I cover the Rangers minor league system. It's a free email. If you go to scottlucas.com, you can sign up if you're interested in that sort of thing. I've got a Twitter account that I honestly don't really use anymore, which is Scott R. Lucas. I've also got a Blue Sky account, which I'm using more. Same name. In real life, I'm a real estate appraiser who does a lot of weird work that usually involves contaminated properties or litigation and things like that. But through Josh, I know we've seen some movies together over the years. I know we saw one of the Pavement reunion shows.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
A few shows. I think we went to Drive-By Truckers.
Yeah.
But yeah, a handful of shows.
Right.
Baseball games too. Yeah.
Yes, that is true. And at some point, I can't remember exactly. I feel like not too long after you got married, that's when you moved. I can't remember the timeline exactly. But yeah, I'm still here.
How's Austin?
Big. And, it's not the city it used to be, but whatever. Things change.
Yeah.
No, it's still cool.
Is it booming, or is it kind of plateaued a little bit?
No, it's still booming. It's still growing a lot. Austin, weirdly enough, is one of the cities that actually built a ton of housing during the COVID epidemic. And before that, prices went crazy. And then the market actually lost as much value as just about anywhere in the country. But yeah, it's growing like crazy. I guess my only...
The houses were needed.
Yes, very much
Yeah.
so. Yes. Yes. But I guess the only issue is, this is going to sound kind of weird, but there is actually a non-zero chance I'll have to get off this call because the house across the street from mine that isn't lived in anymore has been broken into 3 nights out of the last 4 because the guy who lives there is a hoarder and just has a bunch of stuff. And so even though we got robbed, people have come back.
Uh-huh.
So that's not very much fun.
Doesn't sound like it, no.
No.
You're still in the same place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We won't dox you.
Yes. No. It's actually a really nice neighborhood, and I like being here. And there's very
Yeah, I
little
like your
crime.
neighborhood.
So this is a little frustrating, but
Is it better to live across from kind of a hoarder who isn't there, or a high school kid running a brothel?
I guess I would pick the hoarder. I guess it would depend on whatever fringe benefits there were at the brothel.
Yeah.
Although
good
I am
point.
happily married, so that could be at least a little awkward. I guess in that respect, I would just want money to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did seem like he always had cold beers over there.
Yes, it was like Old Milwaukee and
And Schlitz, yeah.
Blitz and stuff like that, and cigars.
A lot of cigars in this
But
movie.
yeah, at this point in my life, I just would be like, yeah, pay me to shut up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't have to take advantage of the women of the night when there's a sweet train set downstairs.
Yeah, that's true too.
I'd be down there.
Yeah. Last week I said that I'd seen this at least a few times in the past decade, including once or twice in the past year. Sean, what was your relationship to Risky Business?
Oh boy. Definitely kind of an adolescent watch. Maybe bits and pieces since then, but I was murky on a lot of the bigger details. I mean, outside of the kind of like iconic images and scenes from this movie, yeah, I've clipped around, here and there over the last year, but a full rewatch, I gotta go back 30 years.
Yeah.
A full run through.
Yeah, I'm probably in the same boat.
Okay. So, getting right into the pre-interview. Scott, we asked you what you recalled the plot of Risky Business being. And you said...
Yeah, Tom Cruise is like a high school student. I think he's pretty close to graduating, and there's a lot of stuff about he's trying to get into the right college. He lives in a really wealthy neighborhood, but his parents go out of town for a week. He either decides to, or he's kind of like talked into having a prostitute come to his house while his parents are on vacation. And if I remember correctly, they end up totally ripping him off, taking a bunch of stuff out of his home. And a lot of the movie is him trying to get all that stuff back before his parents come into town and navigating that underworld. And also he's got a pretty big crush on Rebecca De Mornay, because who wouldn't? And also there's stuff about, I think at some point he has that's right, he has a party to raise money to, I think, buy all the stuff back from the people who ripped him off. And it turns out one of the college advisors who he's trying to get into shows up to interview him, and he has to navigate that. But to me, it's very, and we can get into it more when the actual movie is
Sure.
going on, but a lot of it is very culturally resonant. To me, it's like a perfect distillation of the Reagan era.
Sure.
For that particular time, it's a very modern movie. I'll have to see it to remember, but it feels like there's not like a hint of the 1970s in it.
Nice hedge on not deciding whether it was his idea or the in-home visit was foisted upon him. Later, you go on to say, oh, you do think that it wasn't his idea entirely.
Right.
Now, was it a surprise to you when the first sex worker showed up at the door? Did you remember that?
No, I remembered that. I couldn't remember the specifics, but yeah, I knew there was a situation like that. Right. There is somebody named Jackie who
It's not my wife.
how good of a friend he is, but Miles basically finds an ad for this Jackie, and Jackie comes over. Jackie is a male crossdresser, not a woman. So he is Joel, that's the character in the movie. He is immediately put off by this and basically pays her to go away. He gets so frustrated that he can't even get himself off, and then out of frustration calls the number that Jackie gave to him
Yeah.
of this girl named Lana, who Jackie says that's who basically all the rich white boys in this suburb want.
Right.
And, she shows up. I guess as far as like how I describe the plot, I feel like I more or less got it right.
Right.
I think what is interesting to me, I mean, a lot that I'd forgotten about is that obviously this movie is about adolescence, but this movie is just like, it is drowning in anxiety and insecurity and sexual awkwardness. It's just pervasive.
Yeah, I mean, he can't even get laid in his dreams.
Exactly. Right. He can't carry it out by himself. He can't even dream it properly.
Yeah.
There's an opening scene that, frankly, I'd forgotten about where the opening of the movie is like there's a girl in a shower and he's supposed to get into the shower with her, but it gets really cloudy. And then all of a sudden he's in a classroom full of people taking their SATs, and he only has like 5 minutes left to do it.
Yeah.
So the movie does, I think, a really good job of establishing how insecure and anxious you are at that time of your life. And even if you're in a situation where you're the horniest guy in the universe, that at that age you might still not be able to go through with it.
Yeah. I thought it was weird how they implemented VO.
Very.
I would like to understand what the governing notion of what the voiceover, like where it's coming from, who he's talking to. Because like you'd think that maybe it's him talking to Bill Rutherford from Princeton, but it's not that. So I don't know why he's telling us this dream. And then there are only 3 moments, if I remember correctly, where he's talking in VO. One is like, the exposition dump to say how Lana's setting everything up, and then it's at the beginning and end, and that's it. So
yeah, Josh, didn't it strike you a little bit in this movie like a production note? Like, we're going to need to add some VO. It's so weird how rare it comes up in this movie.
Yeah.
And also the very strange POV scene, right? Like he has POV with, we get a little bit of in that shower fantasy that.
But at least that's a dream. That makes sense, But
then we have that whole series with his parents and dropping them off at the airport that is in first person point of view. Like, did they die in a plane crash? Is Tom Cruise dead? Like, it's so weirdly murky and ethereal and...
Well, and all the sex scenes are, like, fantastical.
Right.
Right. The opening is very dreamlike, and then when he finally has sex for the first time, it's very dreamlike too. That's something that really caught my attention. And I think part of it is like, that's how movies are filmed. Everybody's awkward, but then when they start having sex, magically they're great at it.
Yeah. And also like the presumption is like, he's new to this, right?
Yeah. A part of it is that he's with a sex worker, so she knows what she's doing. Maybe she's helping him along to be more confident. But also part of it is like, maybe we're not watching what really happened. Maybe we're watching his dream interpretation of how that went. And that's not something that ever really occurred to me when I was watching it the first time.
I still don't know what to make of it.
Right. When I was 15, it was just like, oh yeah, Tom Cruise is having sex. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Now it's like, what are we really looking at here? It's like, yeah, he had sex, but we're watching probably watching his very generous interpretation of how it went.
I mean, when the wind blows the doors open and the leaves start blowing in, I felt like I was suddenly watching the Japanese horror movie House. Mm-hmm. I was like, what? This is such a weird tonal choice. I don't dislike it, but no, it was a choice.
It's almost like The Quiet Man, right? When Henry Thomas in E.T. is watching that scene with John Wayne and, Margaret O'Hara or Margaret Sullivan. And like
some Irish woman.
The doors,
Maureen O'Hara, I think.
Maureen O'Hara, perhaps. But like the windows are blowing in, the doors are blowing in. He has to kind of pull her. I think E.T. is actually watching it, and then Elliot is doing it in his classroom. But like, there's such a high level of drama in that scene for somebody hiring their first sex worker to be that confident, to kind of walk across the room. Like,
especially after Rebecca De Mornay does not show up until the 27th minute of the film. And the first 26 minutes are nothing but establishing how anxious and insecure he is. And then all of a sudden, pow!
Lets herself in.
Yeah, right. Just lets herself in.
Also dreamlike. Did it happen? We don't know.
Right. I mean, they clearly do have sex, but I don't think it's like that. But yeah, I feel like if it's my first time and the doors blow up and a bunch of leaves come in the living room, it might like throw me out of the mood for a minute.
He
but-
definitely owes her $300.
Oh.
And again, like, it seems weird that, like, that wasn't ready to go.
Yeah,
Like-
well, especially because he paid $75 to Jackie, basically
go
for
away.
nothing more for
Yeah.
her time and nuisance. So that was a part that seemed kind of confusing. It's like, obviously, it's going to be a lot more
Yeah, also, like,
Atlanta services because she stayed all night.
Jackie portrayed by, I would say, pretty popular character actor Bruce Young. Bruce Young's been on a lot of stuff over the years, over the decades. Really kind of nice visual when we first see Jackie. Just like so physically intimidating to
Yeah.
anybody, let alone, 5'8" Tom Cruise?
Right.
Officially 5'8".
Officially
And
5'8".
One confusing thing about this, I certainly when I saw the movie originally, I wasn't thinking about this, but it's confusing in that, I mean, Jackie is obviously in a niche market for people who want that kind of service.
Yeah.
But yet, apparently, he put his listing in just the standard, group of stuff.
I can see where there's coded language that Miles wouldn't be picking up on when he makes the call.
Well, I'm wondering if Miles set him up.
Sure, that could be it too.
I mean, I think that's more of like a bully move, right? Like, Miles wants to get Joel laid. I don't think he's doing it as a, as a prank. I do align more with the thinking that he just didn't pick up
Maybe.
the BBW or whatever it was in Jackie's
Right.
listing.
But-
right?
On the other hand, Miles he comes across to me as Miles has an interesting stature in the movie. He's obviously kind of a little bit of the alpha figure.
Yeah.
He does not talk, right? Like a...
No, he's very manipulative.
Is this because he's 28?
Yeah, he does not talk like kind of the incel, nerdy comic relief. He's like this guide. It's a very strange relationship because he offers Joel advice so many different junctures at this throughout this movie. And then, of course, he can kind of also get cowed and fall back to his kind of scaredy cat ways when...
Right, the scene when they're trying to get away from Guido.
Right.
He folds immediately.
But it's not like he loses any of his stature after that with
Right.
Joel. He's still able to kind of counsel Joel, like he's gone through all these things before.
But he's also telling Joel, it's like, hey, I don't have to pay for this.
Yeah.
Right.
And at that point, if I'm Joel, it's sort of like, well, maybe fuck you. Maybe you do have to.
I wonder how important it was for Curtis Armstrong and Bronson Pinchot to be short as well
Yeah.
in this movie.
But Miles comes across to me as so untrustworthy. I mean, there's a scene in the middle of the movie where they go get ice cream and get high. Cruise's character does not do that with Miles. He does that with Bronson's character, who is ultimately a better friend and much more trustworthy.
I mean, he's a genius inventor of a memo.
Yes, the memo
machine.
miner.
Yeah. So
Even for 1982, that is just such sad technology.
Yeah. That was their company's name, Sad Tech.
Yeah.
Could you imagine just that noise for hours before somebody realizes that it's a memo must be read? It did feel like he was, playing wingman or at least forging a little bit of a friendship with the other prostitute throughout a lot of those scenes.
Yeah.
You're talking about Bronson Pinchot here?
Yeah. His character in that movie has a bright future, I think. He's going to be fine.
Well, he's going to work at the Chicago Tribune with his cousin Larry, right?
Oh, I forgot about that part. Is that what he said? Or is this something? This is a bit that I missed.
Perfect
Oh,
Strangers.
wait, you're yes. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Slow. I was like, I don't remember that part.
Most people aren't going to get that who listen to this. So.
No, it took me a minute.
So it seems like your mind filled in the blanks and maybe combined the taking of everything in the home with a crystal egg first.
Yeah.
Were you ever starting to question your memory at all?
Not really question my memory. I just, like I say, when we talked about it, what I described was extremely action and plot heavy.
Sure.
I had kind of glossed over the themes of the movie and just the emotional impact it had. And like I say, I feel like the movie did a really good job of conveying the kind of anxieties you have at that age. The other thing and part of the reason why I missed that, I think, because the movie stars Tom Cruise, basically one of the biggest actors of the last 40-something years.
Yeah.
And he's such a larger than life character. And in a lot of these movies, he's playing these brash, hyper confident alpha male type characters. And so I think what had happened to me over the years is that it's like, well, okay, yeah, Tom Cruise is playing this character, but really he's kind of above it all. He's going to be aloof. Everything's going to be fine. There's not going to be any real tension. And it actually wasn't that way at all.
No.
He was 21 when they filmed this, I think. And they give him
21 when it was released, 20 when they were shooting.
Okay, right. And he doesn't quite look like a high schooler, but they give him the kind of haircut that every white suburban kid in the early 80s had, me included. And a lot of times in the movie, he speaks in maybe a little bit higher pitched voice, and he comes across as a little meek. And so he really genuinely does sell it as far as just, being kind of an ordinary kid. So I was really happy with that because my memory of that had changed quite a bit.
Did you guys see that they had made Tom Cruise work out to lose muscle mass? Because he was kind of ripped when he shot Outsiders. So they made him lose like 10 pounds and then eat like really fatty food to put baby fat back on his face.
Right. So he had like a little bit more of a baby face. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just because this was such a star-making role for him, I kind of had it in my head, Tom Cruise the big star, but no, he's actually just kind of he does a really good job of being a kid. But I will say, the parents leave, and then there's the scene where they're doing old-time rock and roll, and he's dancing around in the shirt. It's like not his character, but Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise goes from being an ordinary actor to a megastar in the span of like 30 seconds.
Yes.
It's just an iconic moment.
That scene came so much earlier than I expected it to come. Like, I think in my mind, it was like, oh, he gets laid. And, like, that's kind of his very cliche, I'm feeling good about getting laid kind of exuberance, bursting forward, the joie de vivre of being a young man, in springtime, so to speak. But, like, it's like the 15-minute mark, and all it really is like the freedom of his parents being gone.
Yeah.
He gets to play with his dad's stereo.
If they were your parents, I think you'd be fucking dancing if they left.
Yeah.
Right. He makes a scotch and soda that's about 90% scotch.
Oh my god, that Chivas Regal pour.
And a frozen dinner that he forgot to cook.
It almost seems like he didn't even forget, right? Like, it seems like he just didn't understand.
Yeah, that may be.
Because if you forgot, you would,
you would turn around, throw it in the oven. Yeah.
Yeah, you turn around and you walk right back to Chef Mike and pop it in for 60 seconds.
Did he eat it all this week? Do we ever see him eat actual food?
He eats a lot of junk food.
Lana cooks him breakfast the next morning.
Oh, that's right.
Lana cooks him breakfast, and also he has a scene where he's watching like a TV or something in the kitchen, and he's got like 3 or 4 different chip bags open, which again, as we talk about on this podcast a lot, parents leaving town was the impetus for drama in a movie like 87% of the time.
In a teen movie, yeah.
In a teen movie, parents would just leave. I didn't understand this. This didn't happen to me.
I kept waiting for my parents to leave for like a month, and they never would.
Yes.
See, my parents would leave in high school. A funny thing is going back and like looking on Reddit and reading reviews of this movie from people who are much younger. And some of them are kind of lost. They're like, how is this possibly happening? Why are the parents just leaving town when this guy's still in high school? It's like, this doesn't happen. It's like, actually, it kind of did.
Uh-huh. Yeah, boomers didn't care.
Yeah, my parents would do that. As soon as they felt like I was old enough to be in the house by myself, there was one time I was a senior in high school, and yeah, my parents went out of town for a week. And so, of course...
So you ran a cat house out of the...
No, but I had a girlfriend, and...
Yeah, sure. And she went out of town for a week?
Yeah. Something like that. But yeah, I mean, generally, there were a couple of... She was kind of on the outs with her parents, and she had a friend who she would spend the night with, even though she was a junior in high school. And so for that week, she stayed at my place.
Stayed at that friend's house?
Yeah.
according to the story.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
want to get back to something Scott was talking about with Cruise, though. Did you see that? You feel that he kind of does embody a naive, nervous high school kid in this, but were there any moments where you saw a particular scene that showed off him as a good actor, or something beyond just dancing in his underwear that you were like, okay, here's what producers saw, where they were like, because 3 years after this, right, he's in Top Gun.
I was really hoping you were in 2 years in Legend, but
Well, 2 years after this movie comes out, he
Yeah.
is in production for Top Gun,
yes.
right? Obviously, that becomes one of the seminal biggest movies of the decade. What do you think beyond, Dancing in His Underwear, Scott? What do you think that Hollywood saw, and when did they see it in this movie?
Well, it's like I said, most of the movie, he comes across as being not meek, but just an ordinary kid. The one part of the movie where it really switches, and honestly, I think tonally it's kind of a weird shift, is when they're going to be doing the house as brothel for a night, and he's going out and recruiting his peers to come over. And instead of the side parted cut, he's got his hair parted down the middle. And he's got, I think it's a black shirt and like a gray blazer,
Yeah.
and he's smoking cigarettes, and he is just, it's not fake it till you make it confidence. He is just radiating confidence in all these, where he's going up to strangers and saying, come over to my house with $300 and get laid.
Two guys who would be jerking it to the Jane Fonda workout video
right.
with.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for me, it was a little weird how he suddenly acquired that much confidence that quickly, because not long after that, when the guy from Princeton who's going to interview him, all of a sudden he's back in his previous mode where he's not very confident. And admittedly, when he thinks the interview is shot, he pulls out a cigarette and says, sometimes you got to say, what the fuck? But that's kind of a fake bravado type moment.
Right. Because he goes down and he's playing with a train after that.
Yeah. But in terms of what Sean was talking about, that is a moment where he kind of like jumps out of the screen in terms of how he's able to operate. The other movies I thought of, it was after Top Gun, but like The Color of Money, where he's just super hyper cocky, brash, alpha male, the whole thing. And this is later, but like a movie like Magnolia.
Well, Cocktail, he's the same way.
Yeah, Cocktail's the same way. And, I guess I had internalized all those kind of characters that he was playing. And so I thought I was going to see a subdued version of that in Risky Business. But no, they sold him as an ordinary kid.
So I guess we may as well talk about Tom Cruise, like where he was at this point in time. So his first role is a very minor, like blink and you'll miss it, supporting role in Zeffirelli's Endless Love, which starred Brooke Shields and shot in the fall of 1980. Really fucking bad. It premiered in July of 81. He was fifth billed in Taps, which shot in January of 81 after having production delayed due to the 1980 SAG strike. It had a December of 81 release, and Cruise got bumped up from a background role.
Wow.
After impressing director Harold Becker in one of the like larger cadet scenes. Then Francis Ford Coppola's adaptation of S.E. Hinton's novel The Outsider shot in Tulsa in the spring of 82. So that was the next thing he did after Taps. And Cruise was seventh billed in the ensemble, which is just a cast full of future stars. That had a March 83 release and was a modest hit. This shot in the summer of 82, right after he shot The Outsiders. Somewhere probably at the back end of 82, he shot Curtis Hansen's very bad ensemble period teen sex romp, Losing It, starring opposite Jackie Earle Haley, John Stockwell, and Shelley Long. That bombed in April of 83, but it was the first film release where Cruise was technically top billed, though that probably owed to alphabetical order more than anything. Then All the Right Moves shot in the early spring of 83. Risky Business had its release in August of 83 and was a huge hit, kind of brushing away the stench of Losing It. And then All the Right Moves hit the box office in October of 83 and was the second Cruise star vehicle of the second half of the year. Wasn't as big a hit as Risky Business, but it made 3 times its budget at the box office. So now, were you at all surprised by how little actual navigation Joel did with regards to his handling Bill Rutherford, the Princeton guy, when he arrived at the house?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's clear that Joel is not qualified to get into Princeton.
Sure.
I mean, he had like a 3.1 GPA. His SAT was like 1080
Made
or
up,
something
but
like that.
it was
And
597 and a 560, but you can't get a 597.
yeah, a little. And he said he's going to take it again. And he's got a few things on his resume like the
Future Enterprisers.
Future Enterprisers, but it just seems really weak. Although, didn't his dad go there? Is he a legacy?
Yeah, that's I
There's
assume
that,
why he'd be
but
able to get it.
it's still they still make it sound like that's not enough. He really he
Right.
genuinely
Yeah, and I don't think it is enough. I think that he's there as a courtesy to the alum,
yeah.
his father,
I think
right?
that's right.
It's very strange as a script writing device to have this interview occur at 10:30 at night.
What the
Right.
fuck was this guy doing the rest of the night?
I mean, I went to University of Texas. I never applied for a school like Princeton, but
Right.
the idea of like anybody coming over to my house to interview me for a college is like that. I don't remember. I don't know. That just didn't happen.
I mean, it is the most courteous and generous of visits considering where Joel is.
Uh-huh.
It feels a little weird not to make him smarter or not to make him more college bound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they want him to be the sort of like everyman stand-in for, like, there's a reason he's not getting laid. There's a reason he can't even get laid in his dreams. Obviously, he's got a movie star smile and his head fits right on the screen. But, like, he is supposed to be that everyman teenager.
And one thing I thought was interesting, obviously, he's in a very wealthy household, yet at the same time, he himself is perpetually broke.
Yeah.
He's not a trust fund kid. He's not sitting there thinking he's going to coast through life. To his credit, his parents in the movie, maybe they could have pushed him a little harder, got that GPA up, but basically he's expected to put in the work and get by on his own.
And he'll do that at the University of Illinois.
Yes.
Yeah, and if the GPA isn't up, go out and get a high school job. Like, it's a popular way to make money.
Right.
Like,
yes. The one
I
other
liked
thing about... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, nothing. Yeah, it was just, there's this throwaway line that I really like that his mom has where she says, "Honey, did you pack my mace?" And I think it does like a really good job of kind of, speaking to the suburban aversion to the big city in a funny way. Like even going to the airport, it's like, oh God, I've got to have my mace to go to O'Hare.
One thing is the actors playing the parents were in their late 40s. I'm older than them now, which kind of makes me a little sad, but there it is.
they're a lot older than you now, too.
Well,
though.
that is true.
Yeah.
But you think of them as like, they're the dowdy old parents and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh my God. But actually, you know what? The parents are pretty cool.
His dad wouldn't have been wearing a Proto-Martyr shirt, Scott.
Well, there is that. But no, his parents are actually pretty chill. I feel like his
dad's pretty pissed about the Equalizer.
Yeah, but I feel like overall they had a pretty decent relationship. They were petty about some stuff, but they weren't jerks.
I mean, yeah, look, if there was a crack in your glass egg at the end of a week, you'd be a little bit upset.
Sure, I'd be furious at my daughter if something like that happened, but I don't.
It is weird,
I don't invest in glass eggs.
Of your many crystal eggs that you have on the mantle.
Right.
Is there a falling out between Miles and Joel in this movie that I missed?
I don't think so.
No.
Because it just would seem so obvious that Miles is there at the end to help put the house back in order. That's an all hands on deck. If you're my friend, I need you now.
Is he not in that scene?
He's not in that scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting back to. I couldn't remember, but that's kind of what I was getting to earlier. When Joel needs people he can trust, Miles is not part of that.
I mean, I'm guessing he was just unavailable to shoot that day, but
maybe. But I mean, like I say, with the stuff about when he goes out with the ice cream, he's got I forget what Bronson Pinchot's character's name is in the movie now, but Miles is a friend, but
Bronson Pinchot, of course, was Barry.
Oh, okay, yeah, most generic name ever.
Curtis Armstrong had to fly to a screen test for Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah. Just like Cruise had to fly in the middle of the night from the Outsiders set in Tulsa to make it for a 5 a.m. fucking tape at the house of the producer of this. He was on a flight at night, woke up at the producer's house, 5 a.m., flew back to Tulsa for a fucking night shoot.
Man,
That's how we ended up in this.
soundtrack of this movie is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. I love the
Tangerine
Tangerine
Dream.
Dream score.
It's very understated. It's electronic, but it's not like obtrusive. It's not like the Jan Hammer, Miami Vice, Beverly Hills Cop, jarring in your face thing. It's very subdued.
It does a lot of the work.
And dreamlike.
Yeah.
And it's funny because just the previous, I think it was just a year earlier, there's the movie Thief, which is a great movie. James Caan it's Michael Mann, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But that soundtrack is like extremely of its time. Whereas this one, it fits with the dreamlike quality of the movie very well.
For sure. I mean, I love Tangerine Dream. No complaints here.
Yeah.
But yeah, great score. I know it plays with what comes later, but it's sort of strange to start with opening credit B-roll of Chicago as seen from the L with Tangerine Dream behind it.
Yeah.
Because we're not really in Chicago for most of this movie. We're in the greater Chicago metro area, but
Glencoe, which I didn't even look up. I don't even know where that is.
yeah, it's north. It's
okay. That makes sense.
North suburbs.
All right.
And they're actually shooting in Highland Park, and they are around the corner from Cameron's house.
Okay.
In Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So let's throw to the second clip. Here we've got you talking about how you related to Risky Business when it was a staple for you.
Yeah, probably the first time I've seen it. I might have seen it when I was... Okay, it came out in 1983, I think. So I would have been 15. 15 or 16, somewhere in that range. I was kind of an ordinary kid, but I sort of remember at the time there were certain elements of like his existence that,
parallel
I looked up to. I mean, Cruise's character, if I remember correctly, wasn't necessarily cool. I mean, he might have gained some coolness as the movie went on, but at the same time, he was like, yeah, he lived in this magnificent house and it was his dad's car, but like I got to drive around some incredible car. And
he wasn't a poon hound.
Right. Now that I think about it, I think he's got some friend of his who kind of talked him into getting somebody. He was like a really nervous kid. So in that respect, I mean, credit to the movie for not making him, some sort of outside character.
Right.
But I mean, even though he was kind of like awkward stuff, there was like a coolness to that whole atmosphere where the movie was set. Even though, some of the people he's running into, you certainly wouldn't want to be doing that in real life.
So, how do you think high schooler Scott would have handled the quagmire that Joel Goodson gets himself into?
Poorly. I mean, some of the stuff is kind of crazy. I mean, we talked about the car. If you dunk your Porsche into Lake Michigan, you're not getting it fixed. It's still going to smell like Lake Michigan. There's just, there's just no way. But in terms of like being in some kind of crazy situation like that, I can't think of anything in my life that equated to that. I would have been throwing up. Yeah.
I think, not only was it a good performance, but it felt the most relatable when that car does start slipping down the hill. It's actually a really good performance there by Cruise because you don't doubt for a second that this is his life. Right?
Yeah.
This car going into this fucking lake is everything.
Yeah.
His hopes and dreams. And the fact that the keys are in the car, it's locked. I mean, there's not even a look back, right?
Well, she's left, right?
She walked away.
She's left and it starts to slip. But like when he starts screaming, we don't get the reverse of her, seeing what's happened, right? Like she's disappeared into...
Yeah, we don't... From that whole time that starts until the car actually falls into the lake, I don't think we see it. There's no shot of anybody else.
A woman of the night as she has disappeared into the park there.
Didn't they sort of have like okay, this is done?
Yeah, they got in a little bit of an argument.
Yeah.
Because she had pitched we should get my friends together with your friends, and he wasn't having any part of that, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's really the car going into the lake is the impetus for, of course, their teaming up.
Yeah, their partnership.
Yes.
That car doesn't go into the lake. We don't have a movie, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the worst thing you ever did to one of your parents' cars?
I don't know. I can't think of anything too. Oh, wait. No, I take that back. Well, technically it was my car. Same girlfriend. When my dorm roommate was out of town, I would drive up and grab my girlfriend and take her back to Austin with me. And then when the weekend was over, I would like drive her back up to Arlington and back. So I was driving like 800 miles in a weekend for,
Yeah.
well, you know why I was.
Yeah.
But anyway, one time on the way back, the car threw a belt and overheated and died outside of Waco. And I had nothing to do, and so I had to get on a payphone and call my parents. My dad had to drive down and take me the way back to Austin. So, yeah, not a high point in my life.
No.
Credit my father with not showing up and just strangling me and walking away. I don't think I would have blamed him in retrospect, but
You weren't originally asking me that question, were you, Josh?
No, I know the answer for you. I was in the car when it happened.
it was an 82 Olds Cutlass.
Okay.
Total piece of crap car.
I know that car.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I totaled one of my parents' cars on ice.
I got T-boned, but it didn't ruin it. I also broke the windshield of a car trying to kill a mosquito from inside. Because you know how windshields are kind of designed to break from the inside, so a mosquito was kind of bouncing around between the windshield and the dash. And I gave this like Bruce Lee palm strike. Completely missed the mosquito. That thing laughed its ass off, probably. But as soon as I hit the windshield, it just spiderwebbed. Yeah, that was an interesting 5 seconds of adolescence.
Yeah, we don't have to get into
No, we don't have to talk about
no.
what happened in Kansas.
As far as my car, there's no getting out of it. There's no payoff. It was just my total and utter humiliation and disappointing my parents and having to rebuild trusts and all that. So
We'll save what happened in Kansas City for another podcast.
Right. Was the car and the suburban existence everything you'd remembered and built up in your memory, or were things different than you'd remembered?
nah, it was pretty accurate.
That car is sweet.
There were similar, like I said, I grew up in Arlington, I grew up in not like the rich part of Arlington, but wealthier than average. I was probably like upper middle class, but the rich kids lived like 2 miles to the west of me. But in terms of like describing that culture and how people went around and acted, I think that's part of why I like the movie in the first place, was that it was relatable. I don't know about like calling sex workers over to your house, but the general
Probably happened.
Yeah, sure. But in general, the stuff that was going on, it fit. It didn't seem like it was fantastical or anything.
Did your mom carry mace?
Not that I can recall.
Yeah, if my mom carried mace, she didn't tell us about it.
Okay. So for the next clip, we asked you what you thought appealed to young Scott about risky business.
Well, I mean, some of it, when you're at that age, especially during the 80s and probably younger, the 70s too, it's always true. It's like you're watching movies that are like about your peers, people the same age as you, and getting into, well, not necessarily situations with prostitutes, but, getting into crazy adult type situations and how they handle it. And just the fact that it was mostly a comedy. I mean, it was just sort of like when you were that age, that was the kind of movie you went to go see.
Sure.
There were always plenty of them in the theaters, and some were terrible, and I probably thankfully forgot about them. And some of them became kind of cultural touchstones like this one.
Did you and your friends get into any grown-up situations where you were out of your depth as kids kicking around the Metroplex?
Oh, probably. There were times where, I mean, to be honest, at that point in life, basically alcohol was pervasive. I had
Drinking age was still 18?
Drinking age was when did it switch? I can't remember. Oh, that's right. It was still 18. I think I was either 16 or 17 when it hopped up to 19.
Okay.
No. I take it back. It was 19. And I think when I was 17, that's when it went to 21.
Okay.
So I got within like a year, and then I had to wait 2 more years. But honestly, at that time, it was pretty easy to get.
Right.
And I also had one of my best friends at the time. He had the house to himself. He was a year older than me, so he was a freshman in college at this particular time. But he had the house to himself. His father had some job in, I can't remember, a different state. And so he just had the house to himself. So it was just like, I practically lived there.
Yeah.
So,
Is it
you
just
know,
a free-for-all there?
That was where everybody, that's where everybody hang out. And occasionally we would have parties, and then we'd make too much noise. People would call the cops, and I'd answer the door, and there's a cop there, and I got empties all over the house. And of course, we're all underaged and have to like kind of talk our way out of it, that sort of thing. And you know, whatever. I never got arrested. It all worked out. It was just sort of dumb, but that's what you did at the time.
Yeah. Kids being kid shit.
Yeah.
So you hit on Risky Business being mostly a comedy. How did the tone of the film strike you now?
Well, like I say, the pervasive anxiety of it is something I'd forgotten, which I think is good. You know, something else I thought of, I think there's elements of it as a satire of capitalism.
Yeah.
There's an early scene where Joel's like, what, do y'all just want to make money? And they're like, fuck yeah, we just want to make money. And he's like, half jokingly, like, oh, I just want to help my fellow man. And they throw French fries at him.
Yeah.
So, and there's some stuff about where he kind of has some misgivings about, in addition to the problems of operating your parents' house as a brothel, you know, the whole, is there more to life than just trying to make money and materialism and pleasure and things like that? It's there. I don't think it lands very heavily. I mean, there's some stuff about like hamster wheel, you know, throughout the movie. He gets in these situations and he needs more money and it's never enough. And you're always having to deal with the next problem and you're never satisfied. But at the same time, the movie ends on a good tone.
Only kind of, though. Like,
yeah,
he just lost all the money he did make.
Right. There is that.
It sort of got Rockford Files vibes, where Jim Rockford either never gets paid or his client was like, you know, using him as a patsy or something. Like, there's no getting ahead for Joel in this film.
Yeah, but
even when you think he's ahead, the goddamn egg is cracked, and he's going to get screwed there too.
But as in the theatrical release of the movie, as the movie ends, he's kind of joking around with Lana's character, and they're still marginally together. At least they're least at the very least, it's a friends with benefits situation until he goes off to college. He had to give it all away, but he made a bunch of money for a while. He gets into Princeton. He gets away with it.
Yeah.
So in that respect, to the extent that there's satire in there, I don't know about it. I don't know if it lands, but that's also something when I was watching the movie when I was 15, I honestly wasn't thinking about at all.
It's a much sadder future for Lana.
Yes.
Right? She's not going off to Princeton.
No, and something I didn't really appreciate at the time, but definitely rewatching it too. I think this is the other big thing, other than the anxiousness and insecurity of the movie, is how truly at heart transactional their relationship is.
Yeah.
There's no way in the world. There's a lot of talk about, are you my girlfriend and stuff like that, but obviously they might as well be coming from different planets. He's going to end up marrying a woman who comes from a wealthy family like him. Even if she escapes Guido the pimp, her life
and her
is going to be
stepdad.
something similar to what's going on now. It's probably not going to turn out well. Another thing I thought about was, obviously, she rips him off earlier in the movie. And I think when I was 15 or 16 and watching it, towards the latter half of the movie, it's like, oh, okay, now it's good. They're a team and they're not really going to be together, but there's a little bit of that going on. But now that I watch it, it's like, well, is she really in on this heist the whole time? It comes across as much more transactional than when I was watching it as an adolescent.
Whether or not she's in on that heist is like the top spinning in Inception or something like that, right? I'm sure like there's a lot of different takes, but the connection that I saw watching this that kind of makes me feel like she was part of it was Guido being at Lana's when he has the negotiating call with Joel. Like, he knows Joel's number. He can get it from either of those two. Obviously, Daphne or whatever the other names, the other prostitute that is kind of...
Is it Vicky?
Vicky,
yeah. Vicky.
I mean, she seems really in cahoots with Guido.
I mean, she's in the truck handing him his shit, so she's definitely in cahoots with Guido.
But there's no reason really for Guido to be there.
Right, yes, 100%.
Yeah.
He can call Joel at any time and say, you know, hey, you want your stuff back?
Doesn't she say that Guido can lock her out of her apartment? So I think Guido's actually paying for the apartment.
Sure, but we don't see
yeah.
Lana anywhere in those scenes, right? Like she
No.
has.
No, that would make sense.
I just think, there is sort of this weird cynicism with this movie. And you can look at the end scene and how they're kind of like walking somewhat aimlessly through, is it Highland Park or something like that? It's kind of a nice part of Chicago.
Yeah.
But we never really get that scene, which I kind of was anticipating, where Joel really tells Lana how he feels about her. Like, are you my girlfriend or whatnot? But like, is there a moment where either of you guys feel like Joel told Lana that he liked her or was in love with her or anything else to kind of show like, hey, he's really into her? No, he has like a fantasy, right?
Well, there is the VO that I think says a lot where he says, it was great the way her mind worked. No guilt, no doubts, no fear. None of my specialties. Just the shameless pursuit of immediate material gratification. What a capitalist. I think that maybe is within the language of the Reagan era is saying that he loves her. But
yeah, it does not sound like a hopeless romantic right there, right? That sounds like...
No, that's
to the extent that it's a relationship with her, again, I think it's more of a function of his insecurities. There's a time when he gets home from school and his friend is over and Lana's in the house and Joel gets insanely jealous.
Yeah.
And he's like, did you do something with her? Are you talking to her? And he gets in that state about, this isn't a girlfriend, or this isn't even a date. This is somebody he paid to have sex with, and yet he's insanely jealous of his friend being alone with her for a few minutes. And I think at the end of the movie, when he asked her, was this a setup the whole time? I feel like to some extent he's coming to realize that this is kind of transactional for him too. It's just he didn't really realize it. One thing, I had no idea this existed until a few days ago, that there's an alternate ending. Had no idea.
Yeah, I watched it too. Brickman was fucking seething. He wanted the other ending, which is more melancholy.
It's a lot darker.
Yeah.
What is the original ending?
So they're in the restaurant, the nice restaurant, talking, and Joel is doing the thing where he's like, was this a setup the whole time? And she kind of equivocates. But then she says something, they're talking about it, and they're basically talking like, all right, their time together is basically going to be the end. He's going to go on and do his thing.
Yeah.
She's going to basically have to go back to her existence. And she says something to the effect of like, why does it have to be so tough? And he says, come here. And she stands next to him, and he's like, no, sit down. And she just like sits in his lap, and he hugs her. And then that's when the VO starts.
Yeah.
Except some of the phrasing is a little bit different. And he says something to the effect of, instead of time of your life, he's like, ain't life grand? And he says it in kind of a mocking, self-mocking tone.
Right. Where like it being satirical is a lot clearer.
Yeah. And so it's a much more despondent ending that really, to me, it kind of changes the whole movie.
Which is why Brickman was pissed. And
right. I get why he was so pissed about it not being in there. On the other hand, if I'm bankrolling the movie, I kind of get why you want it changed.
I don't really, it's weird because it doesn't end with puppies and rainbows as well. Like it's more ambiguous. It has this kind of high crane shot. They're walking into the darkness, and then the movie just kind of ends, right?
Yeah.
It ends with her not wearing a bra, very emphatically, but
that's somewhat frequent in the film.
Yeah, but like I think it would have.
I'm not complaining.
No, nobody's complaining.
See, I'm sorry to interrupt you really quick. Part of it for me, the problem is when I'm watching it as 16-year-old or whatever, I'm so enamored with her that I'm not really thinking about the deeper issues that we're discussing in this thing. It's more like, oh my God, look at this girl.
You're not thinking about why she's in this situation in the first place because her stepdad was trying to perp on her. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but it is kind of a cold scene when they're having lunch there. And Joel has kind of regained the power in this dynamic and has maybe like surpassed her, which he never really has throughout their dynamic.
Yeah.
Now that he's paid off his debts, now that he's gotten through the week with his parents gone, now that he's fixed the car and everything's back to normal, and he has this future, right? Like he has a future at Princeton in New Jersey that has nothing to do with a prostitute in Chicago. he has all the upper hand in that relationship. She can't really provide him anything moving forward. Like it feels like as Joel has gotten his kind of act together and has found himself and his power, he's gotten colder.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said it in a different way, but towards the end, he's understanding that even from his point of view, this is purely a transactional relationship.
Right.
Now, having just rewatched this, is there anything surprising to you about how this film did become something of a cultural touchstone?
I mean, not really. One, I think it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It holds up. It was fun to watch. I mean, I certainly enjoyed it then. I enjoy watching it now. Obviously, it's different being older. But
Sure.
no, it's just, I don't think the movie is a classic in and of itself, but in terms of a piece of America at that time, I mean, I feel like if you're going to make 10 movies that kind of fit the Reagan era perfectly, this would be one of them. So would Top Gun. You know, it's one of those, I enjoyed it. I don't know. It's sort of like, am I going to go watch the movie again? I don't know. It's one of those movies that probably in the early 90s, it would show up on cable and I'm like, oh yeah, Risky Business, it's on. But I don't know if I'd go out of my way to watch it now. Of course, I'm also in my 50s. It's not that, you know. But it's bigger than the movie itself. It's part of the American culture now.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it being Cruise's breakout role is, as you said before, for 4 decades now. He's
and it's also, I think a comment I made earlier that very much holds up. Even though it was filmed in like 1982 or early 83, it is an extremely 80s movie.
Yeah.
With the exception of some of the parents' furniture, the character of Guido the pimp, who's wearing a brown jacket and tan slacks. This movie is all grays and blacks and blues and very sleek and modern looking. So it very much fits in with the way that decade looked.
So Risky Business took quite a few years to get going. No studios would sign on and greenlight the film because no one could really see what the film was. And they also had pretty significant problems finding their Joel and Lana. I have a really hard time saying Lana, not Lana, but
I probably said some Lanas already, but it is Lana, right? It's very Chicago.
I can almost see somebody reading the script and going, "This is just an ordinary, dumbass teen sex comedy like any other." And there used to be
but there's no jokes. Yeah,
right, and it's not necessarily fun. There's darkness in it. It's like, why would we want to do that? It just, I don't know if they're to what extent they're doing this now, but at the time there were a million teen sex comedies and they were terrible. And it was like
losing it.
Yeah, like 90 minutes of bad jokes, and plus you get like 30 seconds to a minute of gratuitous nudity. Roll credits. That was it.
Now, eventually they got the script in front of David Geffen, who was just starting the Geffen Film Company, this being their second film after Personal Best. John Cusack, Nicolas Cage, Michael J. Fox, Tom Hanks, and Sean Penn all auditioned for the role of Joel Goodson. Rob Lowe said he turned this down because he thought it was, quote, weird. Timothy Hutton was apparently the first choice for the role, but he wanted to work with Sidney Lumet. Brian Backer was cast as Joel, but they replaced him with Cruise after he flew in from Tulsa, where they're shooting The Outsiders, to tape a test with De Mornay at Steve Tish's house, impressing them despite being all outsidered out. Sharon Stone auditioned for Lana. Kim Basinger didn't like the script and turned down the role. Brooke Shields turned down the role to focus on her education at Princeton. So they went through a lot of people to get to De Mornay, which I forgot to double check this, but I believe this is her first speaking film role.
If it's not, it's close to it.
She was dating Harry Dean Stanton at this time.
Which is just Harry Dean Stanton, who was 55 and looked about 75.
Yep.
De Mornay's 25 in this?
She
22, I believe.
She was 22, yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever. We're all adults, but I was just like, all right, I didn't know that.
Apparently Curtis Armstrong, I think it was Armstrong and not Pinchot, it was one of the two, said that things got weird on set because HDS was coming to set and Cruise and De Mornay started dating on set, and so things got awkward. So, yeah, the relationship with Harry Dean Stanton, which had started on One from the Heart, I believe.
One from the Heart, yeah.
That ended.
Yeah, I had no idea.
And they dated for a few years.
You can Google it and find pictures. I was just like, and nothing, whatever. Harry Dean Stanton is fantastic, but Harry Dean Stanton is one of those guys who, when he was 18, he looked like he was 30.
Yeah.
And when he was 55, yeah, he always looked
Uh-huh.
older than he was, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, that was also, she ended up dating Leonard Cohen later.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Cruise is the outlier in that
Right.
trifecta there.
Yep.
Now, you expressed apprehension about there being retrograde sexual dynamics at play in Risky Business, like there were in so much 80s fare. How did you feel like Paul Brickman navigated those waters?
Actually, I think it held up pretty well. I mean, look, she's a sex worker. There's a pimp. It's going to be a difficult and inferior relationship, but I didn't feel like it was a situation where she ends up, I mean, it probably in real life does not work out, but in the movie, she's given a fair amount of agency.
Yeah.
She gets away from him for a while. It's her, she's the one who comes up with the brothel idea and is able to pull it off. So
she gets her take from it.
Right, exactly. So there's that. I feel like the gender and sexual dynamics actually hold up pretty well. Weirdly, the one situation that seems the most dated is Guido, the Italian pimp, driving the big Cadillac. That seems something out of,
very, very
Starsky
strange
and Hutch.
Yeah.
Very strange that he's able to keep up with a Porsche for as long as he does.
Right.
Yeah, not buying that.
I don't know what y'all's take on it, but I was like, oh, okay. It actually, like I say, she's a sex worker. The dynamics are what they are. But in terms of like, oh my God, I can't believe they were saying these things this time. I feel like it actually worked out.
Yeah, I think most of that was actually happening on set, off camera. I don't know if you guys saw this anywhere, but apparently Tom Cruise, this Pinchot, I believe, was saying this. I can't remember where.
I know where you're going. Yes.
Yeah, he would be like, so it's good there aren't any gays here, right? Like just walking up to like the other male co-stars on set, and they'd all be kind of like, I mean, all of these dudes came from like theater. This isn't like he's on the set of The Outsiders or something with Matt Dillon or whoever.
Right.
They're all kind of like, what's up with this guy? Like, why is he doing this?
Yeah.
He also insisted on calling them all by their character names, which no one really wanted.
Right.
So,
he's doing,
I don't know.
Right. Method actor crap.
Yeah, even though he never studied method acting,
Yeah.
It's stuff that he picked up obviously on set, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, guys. Tom Cruise is weird.
Well, I was going to say, I'm sure y'all have studied him more than me, but like, Cruise is just fucking weird.
Scott, your episode's going to blow up once it gets out. That one of our
Tom
hosts.
Cruise is weird.
So,
yeah. I think
it's funny. This is the second straight Scientologist movie that we've recorded, because the recording we did before this was for Urban Cowboy.
Oh, okay.
So, two really strange.
And I haven't seen that. Didn't you say there's a bunch of really ugly sexism in that? I haven't seen that in so long. I don't remember it at all, really.
It's rough.
Yeah.
You will not like John Travolta at the end of that.
Well.
So, for the last clip, we asked you what your expectations were for your return to Risky Business.
I hope it holds up as a good movie. I kind of feel like it will, just because it's a movie where kind of everybody knows about it to an extent. I mean, I guess if you're like 20, maybe not. But I feel like especially because Tom Cruise is still a thing. People know about his movies, and that was not his first movie, but certainly one of them. I hope it holds up.
I wonder what kind of stunt work he gets into in this movie.
That's right, because he does his own stuff.
Well, we know a little bit in his tidy whities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think there's a thing where he's in a car and it's on the dock and the car goes into the river. Maybe he did that scene himself.
If it's not going off of a cliff into a river, then probably not.
Yeah. But, at that time, I mean, I'd have to look at his filmography and get the order right. But, he was famous by then, but I don't think he was famous as a lead.
Yeah.
He was in...
All the right moves,
I don't know which came
before
first.
This.
He was in Taps.
Uh-huh. But that was an ensemble piece.
Right. I feel like he wasn't in... no. He wouldn't have been in Rumblefish or The Outsiders. I think I'm mixing that up with
he was in The Outsiders.
He's in one of them.
Sure.
He was he was in The Outsiders.
He's a greaser.
Okay. But that's another one where he's one of any number of people in it. It's not a star vehicle for him.
Right.
This is the one that set him on his path.
You hoped that this would hold up and thought it probably would. Was its continued remembrance the harbinger of quality you thought it'd be?
Yeah, I think it's a good movie. Like I say, I don't think it's a great movie. It's not
Sure.
like anything super amazing, but it's genuinely a good movie. It's fun. I think one interesting thing about it, and this is something where I've read some people who are coming across it for the first time, is that the pacing of this movie is surprisingly leisurely. It takes a long time to build up to that first sex scene, and there are some various sets.
We get dream nudity in the first 3 minutes, though, so that keeps all of the red-blooded
right
a
helps keep your
male
attention.
audience engaged to De Mornay entering.
Yeah, I feel like if this movie were made now, the pacing would be a lot quicker.
Yes. She'd have to be in by minute 12.
Yeah, like I say, it was 27 minutes before she shows up at all, which I really didn't remember at all. But yeah, it's a good movie. I think it's iconic status in terms of the culture it represents and in terms of Tom Cruise's breakthrough. Makes the movie a little bit bigger than it really is, but in terms of just what you're watching on the screen, yeah, it's good.
So let's move on to picking up the scraps. Is there anything that we haven't mentioned yet that anybody wants to talk about?
I mean, there's a few things, yeah. Did you guys kind of read into a little bit of how Joel needs to kind of obscure his face in order to kind of make some changes in his life? Like, he has this
pulling down the fencing mask when he's on the phone with booking Lana.
It was like a catcher's mask or
yeah, I thought it was
right?
a catcher's.
I couldn't. It didn't look like it looked like it was almost a catcher's mask, but then wasn't. So I don't know what the hell it was.
Well, it could be like for fucking softball or something.
It certainly wasn't one that Don Slott would have worn.
No, it actually looked like the kind of mask that it's more typically worn in. I wonder if it's like a lacrosse mask or something.
It could be that. That would actually make way more sense.
Yeah, that actually is probably the reality.
That mask wouldn't have eaten a baseball, you know?
Yeah.
But the way that he has to kind of like move it down to make these things, and again, later on when he assumes this kind of house madam role and is his most Princeton-esque, he wears those sunglasses throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, he has to put on his mask.
He has to put on his mask in order to kind of achieve these things. You know, I think that this isn't necessarily like a major gripe that I have, but it would be nice to kind of see the bordello begin in a kind of slower stage. Like, because it goes from 0 to 60 so quick, right? It's over one night. We get this huge rocketed spike in popularity, but we don't ever get any kind of growing pains, you know, sitting around with like one prostitute and or one guy. I mean, that would have been
that was probably cut, and it was probably with Megan Mullally.
Yeah, but she's in the movie for about a second and a half.
Yeah, but she had lines. She did
Really?
This was supposed to be her first film role, I believe. Yeah, because this is her debut. It's hers and Bronson Pinchot's, but yeah, her lines were all on the cutting room floor.
It would have been a funny scene to have like one guy there, the tick of a grandfather clock, and like Lana has gotten 20 girls, right? Something like that. And then like, Joel, you got to go recruit. Like, he does get the quote unquote like fat guy who is like average in 2025, but like,
are we talking Bill Rutherford?
I don't think so.
I'm joking. The Princeton guy.
No.
Because he stays there all night.
It's another student.
It's the guy like eating the sandwich or something.
I was joking. Yeah.
Yeah, he's complaining about how much he spent on movie and stuff like that.
Right. He's complaining.
Get
but
anything
like,
out of it.
The guys that he recruits, by and large, look like the popular guys. They look athletic. They have good hair. They're, you know, coming out of that bank counting their money. It was almost like a Scarface montage where like they're making withdrawals. It's not like Joel like went around to like D&D clubs and the chess club. And it seems that in 1983, by and large, most of these guys should be getting laid.
Yeah, they're making withdrawals so they can make deposits.
But we never get that perspective of like the high school women and the girls wondering why nobody is available for a date. this weekend. I would have liked to have kind
They're
of
probably
seen...
relieved.
Yeah.
Yeah, the logistics of doing this are daunting to say the least, and they really just kind of gloss that over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that comes up is that the room where they're doing the interview, it's like they need it for a bed, and that everything proceeds very smoothly. Where you would,
Yeah, he has to do this without press. He doesn't have the time to put something in those want ads, right?
Yeah.
There's no
Shoe leather.
Craigslist. Yeah, what was the strange, I don't know if it's still there, like the
Back page.
Yeah, but there was something on Craigslist.
Oh,
back in the day.
Misconnections.
No.
No.
It
Oh,
was-
no. Okay, never mind. Oh, shit, what was that called?
This is where Josh has to pretend to remember it.
No, it was a takeoff of... I mean, it was Backpage, but on Craigslist.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember what the hell the name was.
We're going to pretend that Josh can't remember this. But it does seem like Joel does an improbable feat of arranging this in an afternoon to get everybody over there. So it would have been nice, I think, just to kind of see a little bit more of the inner workings of them building the brothel. And maybe it culminates with like the Princeton interview on the last night that he's there. How did you guys feel about the train thing this time?
It was weird that they brought in a guy straight from a Hooverville to leer at them as they were getting warmed up.
Do we know anything about that train?
I mean, I've been on the L, but that's as far as I can...
It doesn't seem like an L, right? They had like the kind of bus-like doors. It felt more like a tram car or something like that. I know that we do have that crane shot kind of going up over it, but I wish that they would have made Lana play with the train set, and maybe we get a little bit of some poetry there. Again, this is, rewriting history, but it's weird that we first see Joel at that train set.
If she loves trains, like we're meant to believe she loves trains, then she should be playing with a train set.
Yeah,
You're right.
I mean, it's one thing we do here, Scott, is we make the movie better.
Yeah, there's stuff like, well, going back, that the logistics of running this, where, like you said, they just kind of magically pull it off. That's sort of the same scene where I was talking about when he's going out and recruiting, and out of the clear blue sky, he has this totally outsized confidence that isn't fake it kind of confidence. He's really out there. And
is he wearing sunglasses the whole time, though? Is he wearing the Wayfarers?
Sunglasses, right?
Okay.
Sunglasses and the blazer, and
then he's wearing his mask so he could be someone else.
Yeah, and I guess good for him for pulling it off, but it's kind of a weird.
With what we've seen of Joel up to that point,
it feels like a situation. I mean, there is the issue with the Princeton interview, but that feels like another situation where things could have gone catastrophically wrong again, and yet it's an otherworldly success with no issues. And I guess the word of it doesn't get out. You would think that it'd be the talk of school.
The Karen-esque neighbors in that neighborhood,
right?
Like maybe cops show up and then he's got to give free blowies or something like that.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
But we're talking about Joel having to give
the neighbors are going to.
He might
tell
want to
his parents that there were 50 cars parked in the street and they were hauling in mattresses and
right. And
those are the kind of people who get pissed if you just park in front of their house. Period.
Yeah. And 40 high school. It's so weird to see like that high school freshman sitting there on the couch with the two prostitutes. Like, I know that that's something that they did like throughout the 80s and 90s, but it's just so fucking gross now.
Yeah, it's weird.
But the train scene kind of comes at the culmination of their successful night, right? Like, they've pulled off.
I would say that there's a second culmination of a successful night there.
Yeah. But have Lana down there running the trains. Joel approaches her and she says something of like, I always liked trains. It just made me feel like I was escaping from anything and everything. It didn't matter where I was going as long as I was getting away. Like, that's just, that's rough. But then he can have the idea to take her on a train. Like, Jesus Christ, it's such a nice step and a nice evolution to also show Joel kind of taking control here, like putting Hobo Pete off the train and onto a bench so he could get laid. That scene is shot strangely too, right? Like, we go back
another dreamlike
Yeah, I did notice 2 DPs credited on this movie, which, when we talk kind of about the look of this movie, there is 90% of it that feels very much like most high school movies of this time, most, soft dramas of this time. And then
I think it oddly looks more like the soft drama than the high school movie of the time, but yeah.
But Josh, you pointed out something early on too, of like the view of Chicago from the L.
Yeah, that's strange. The B-roll over like from the L of just like going through Chicago. There's a lot of odd flourishes that aren't necessarily in the language of what the rest of this film is.
It almost, not to steal from a movie we already mentioned here that has some connection through Tangerine Dream, but it does feel a little like Thief. It does feel a little like they've even adjusting the shutter speed or something like that. Like there's a weird disconnect with the sex scenes in this movie, right? Like they're not at normal speed.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is certainly highlighted and more pronounced throughout the movie. Again, I probably wouldn't draw attention to having 2 cinematographers credited in this movie if I didn't notice so many of these little flare-ups.
Yeah, not necessarily incongruity, but like, yeah, it does feel like those scenes were shot by a different person.
Yeah.
There were a couple lines I'd like to just give a shout out to. I really dug the "Who's the U-boat commander" line.
Yeah.
That was really fun. Make some money, be a little enterpriser, which was delightful. When she called him a little enterpriser and he had to correct and say it was future enterpriser.
Yes.
I got one when they were at the Drake Hotel scouting for Lana. Curtis Armstrong says, "Where else are we going to get a hot chocolate for $4?" And I immediately was like, "Oh, sweet Curtis."
Yeah.
If only you knew.
I live in New York City. Like,
well, there was the thing.
But adjust that for inflation. Holy shit, that's an expensive hot chocolate.
Yeah, that's like a small here in New York.
There was the thing earlier in the movie where they're talking about, what a Harvard MBA makes in his first year? $40,000. And everybody's like, ooh.
Dermatologist, 60.
Yes, dermatologist, 60 for being a pimple popper.
A pimple popper.
Yeah, that part was funny.
Am I the only one who was not cool with a buddy showing up with a girl to get laid?
I thought that was fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, what's the bro code on that? And also Joel gives him his bed.
Yeah, even more fucked up.
And they're loud.
Yep.
He ends up having to leave the house. Like, you gotta give a call, bro.
Yeah, you can't just show up. I mean, I talk about like the friend whose parents basically lived in another state, familiar with that situation, but you don't just show up while your friend's there and go, "Hey, anybody using your parents' bedroom?" It's like, well, no, of course not.
Did everyone catch who the I'm sure you didn't, but who the babysitter was in the scene where the police roll up? It's a dream sequence.
No.
The police surround the house and he's about to have sex with the babysitter.
Right.
That's the only time we see her, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Anne Lockhart. She is June Lockhart's daughter.
Okay.
The mom from Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah. Did she
No, that's it.
What is she doing in this?
have any other credits, or is that
Not many.
okay?
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you're only gonna have one or
The
two,
the last name stuck out to me, so I had to.
All right.
Yeah.
But one more thing about the.
Oh, she was Lieutenant Sheba in Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, okay.
The
70s version, I assume. Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing about the sex on the train is that, all right, Cruise's character he's no longer a virgin, but still, and he, other than the first night, there's more encounters with Lana, but hasn't had sex that many times. And
right.
Boy, that's a jump. It's
Yeah.
like your 5th or 6th time to have sex, and it's on a train.
Well, I mean, he's into trains. We know this.
Yeah, but that's, again, a confidence level that he doesn't seem to be showing elsewhere in the movie. Although, I guess if you're horny enough and Rebecca De Mornay
You're going to go wherever Rebecca De
is
De
like,
Mornay
yeah,
wants you to.
we're going to have sex, but guess what? It's going to be on a train. It'd be like, okay.
I kind of wish there's that, to kind of tie in to his dad where he says, sometimes, Joel, like I've always been telling you, you got to say, what the heck, and take some chances. Like, we could have used that at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have made sense.
Like, we have that in Back to the Future with, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. And then Marty gets to tell his dad that in 1955. Like, great. But, like, let's have some basic tenets of screenwriting here.
Yeah.
I would have liked Jackie to come by one more time. It would have been kind of fun. Maybe that's, like, who Bill Rutherford is walking out with at the end, like, the next day.
Yeah, that would be great. So Edward Neumeier was a scriptwriter at Warner's and was so convinced that this would be a hit that he wrote an 18-page report on why he thought the studio should make it. After this was a success for Geffen, Neumeier was promoted to an executive position and began co-writing RoboCop shortly thereafter.
Ah.
And then the last thing I've got, so how much do you guys think this cost to make?
Oh, gosh, at the time, I don't know. It was probably going to be like $8 million, $6-8 million bucks.
Yeah, I'd say he's right on the money. I'd say 6 to 8.
Yeah, it's 6.2.
Oh, hey, how about that?
How much do we think it made?
It was popular. I don't think it was, well, no, wait, I take that back. I kind of know this because in picking the movies, I was going through like top 100 box office hits. So I think it was over 100 million.
I'm sure adjusted for inflation, yes.
I don't think
I'm sorry. Well, maybe it wasn't that much, but it did well.
Yes.
I'll say like 25.
63.5 domestically.
That's so much.
So 10 times its budget. It was the 10th highest box office release of 1983. It seems like it was reviewed fairly positively, but it's hard to tell with that stuff because so much of it's newer reviews that are...
I mean, Roger Ebert, I think, gave it 4 stars.
Yeah, he gave it 4. I remember him giving it 4. But yeah, it has a 93 on Rotten Tomatoes and a 75 on Metacritic. Last year, it also got a 4K Criterion Collection release, so there's that. Now, major gripes. Starting with our guest, Scott, what was your biggest gripe with the film this go around?
It's not like a huge gripe, but I think I already discussed it. I'd have to go back to that weird tonal shift where he's so crazily confident, and it just doesn't really fit with how he acts through the entire rest of the movie. And like to Sean's point, where it's like he's got the glasses on, he's kind of wearing a different kind of uniform that allows him to be a different character. But even then, it doesn't feel like that's the part of the movie where it's like all of a sudden you're looking at Tom Cruise, the big star, and it doesn't really fit with how the rest of the movie plays for me. And it's kind of jarring because, like I say, as soon as that's over and he's doing the interview, he's back to, well, gee, I hope I can pull this off kind of thing. So I think that would be it for me.
Sean?
I think that's completely warranted as a major gripe. I'm in lockstep with you on that. I think not only character-wise, Tom Cruise kind of oscillates a little too wildly throughout this movie, but the film's style is very strange. It is not a clear tone that we have in this movie.
If you shot that love scene, what are you supposed to make of, like, how would you know what movie you're in, you know?
Yeah. Starting your movie with that dream, right? And, like, really putting the audience in this world of like, what should we believe? He has that story even after that dream about like maybe having sex with the babysitter, and they're all giving him a hard time about that. Like, is he a pathological liar? And then for no reason, we have this very strange, long extended drive to the airport and up the escalator with mom and dad, all in first-person point of view, where mom and dad are looking at the camera.
Do you think that's just because they didn't have Tom Cruise that day?
That's almost what it looks like to me.
He is at the airport, but yeah, he may have had to come in at the very end there and wave as they're going up the escalator.
I bet it was a turnaround issue, honestly.
Yeah.
And they were just like, well, we gotta try to make do.
Right. There's nothing else in the movie remotely like that.
Yeah.
Then a fucking script adjustment, have a car come pick them up.
I know.
Whatever.
I mean, the issue is they had the location already. I'm sure that's what it was, but...
Right. You could have worked around that in a way. And then on top of all this, you add that voiceover, which this movie doesn't really need.
Yeah.
And when you add it in such a... it's not Ray Liotta through Goodfellas, steering us in and out of the pitfalls and the moral quandaries that he's in, giving us
It's not
context
Walter
of-
Neff in Double Indemnity either. Like, it's superfluous. You don't need it, and it's
Yeah.
only there 3 times, so why?
So why? And it, when it does show up, you're kind of wondering, like, what movie are they doing now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they do a good job in the movie of establishing his character and what kind of person he is.
Mhm.
And yeah, the voiceover does kind of come across as like a tack on. Like maybe they,
You know, that was my original idea, was it was just some producer who didn't get it because they were confused about this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know.
They
a lot
tacked
of-
it on in post.
Yeah, they tacked it on in post. They were just like, well, just have, you know, like we have a year prior to this, just have Harrison Ford sit in
I was
the
gonna say
fucking
Blade Runner.
studio. Yeah, and just walk us through this confusing thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the major gripe. It is a big one for me because there's a lot of elements here that work, but there's a lot of kind of just skeleton aspects of this script that could have been a lot better.
Right. Mine is, and maybe I missed something while I was taking a note or something, but it felt like Jackie was supposed to be a BDSM sex worker, and I don't feel like the Jackie that shows up at the door is dressed like a BDSM sex worker at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like something doesn't fit. Either Miles was trying to con him or the character who placed that ad, the ad was placed in the wrong
But Jackie is so, like, forgiving of this
Yeah.
and understanding of this kid. I don't think it can be Jackie. So, and I just think that that's like something a little more devious than we see Miles do otherwise.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. My other major gripe. The amount of time that this movie believes that it takes to move all of the belongings out of a house and
Oh,
move
yeah.
all of the belongings
Sure.
back into a house and reset it, that is fantasy. That is not rooted in reality. That would take so much time, and you would need a fucking army to do it both ways.
And it would never work. Something would be out of place. Many things would be
Yes.
out of place. You think they stole his mom's clothing,
Yes.
and you think he's gonna put it, and she probably has it in the closet in a particular order. You
Absolutely.
think he's gonna put it back in the right place? God, no.
And then she's going to think that he was wearing her clothes the whole time.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
every guy who got laid the previous night to like show up and rally for Joel.
I
Which
mean,
is so weird when Curtis Armstrong is not there, right?
Right.
Like Miles does not show at his most desperate moment.
I think Miles is manipulative and untrustworthy, and isn't really there for Joel
Yeah.
when he's needed.
I just have a fond place in my heart of with Curtis Armstrong from Moonlighting that I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt in this.
Yeah. But also, one, hell, it's a movie. I mean, stuff like this goes on in all movies. The other thing is, like, particularly if you're watching this between the ages of 16 and 18, you don't give a shit about any of that stuff. You're just like,
Right.
hey, wow, this is cool, and the woman is amazing, and it's funny, and
It's funny when the car goes into the lake.
right. So,
Yeah.
so what?
Yeah. We're just separating pepper from poppy seeds here,
Sure.
Scott.
Yeah.
So.
Dad would think that he smells like a lake, right?
Yeah.
Like he gets in the car, it looks otherwise pristine, but there's no way you get the smell out. And
No.
he's got to think that it's him then, right?
There was one time when I was a kid, my dad was driving home from work, got violently ill in the car, threw up in his car. That smell never went away. Years.
Yeah.
It was always there. We couldn't.
Was
get
it in the summer?
I don't remember.
Okay. Because if it was a Texas summer, that would have baked into the car.
Yeah, and I mean, at some point, it faded enough to where, like, if somebody else was in the car, they would notice it, but I would still get in the car and be going, "Oh yeah, that's right. My dad threw up in the car."
It's forever unclean.
Yeah.
So, how would we fix this movie for today? Or maybe you don't think there are any fixes that it's perfect. Starting with our guest, Scott, if you've got a fix.
I don't know about major fixes. I do think it holds up. I was worried that the movie was going to come across as maybe more sexist or demeaning to women. I actually think it comes across pretty well, other than the characters are in the situation that they're in. There's nothing you can do about that.
Especially for a 1983 movie.
Right. But I think they handled that part pretty well. I mean, honestly, the thing that plays the worst is some mild Italian-American discrimination with Guido the pimp driving the big Cadillac. That's very much a cliche of the time. But if that's the worst thing in the movie, it's like, hell, not that big a deal.
Right. Sean?
For me, yeah. I mean, I think I want more of, the car goes into the lake at the hour mark on this movie. We have another 40 minutes. I think Joel has to come around quicker to the prostitution racket.
Yeah. Turning his parents' house into a cat house, yeah.
Yeah, and I think we really need to kind of stay there with the ups and downs. Maybe Jackie comes in as security at some point. Maybe the word spreads and it's every high school in the Chicago area. And he realizes, like, oh my God.
We're going to run out of rubbers.
We're going to run out of rooms to conduct college entrance interviews for sure.
They just keep bringing in cots, BT dubs.
Yeah.
There are cots on cots on cots.
They hit Costco.
Realistically, there's no way in the world they're pulling this off.
No.
There's a million ways where it would go wrong.
Well, I want to be fair to the sex workers, and I think that they're maybe intrepid enough that they could make it happen. I don't think there's anyone on Joel's side that could.
No. A bunch of 17-year-old boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have that one thing where it's like, okay, girls aren't worth dating if they're not putting out, which feels a little problematic.
Yeah.
But like if we had spent more time with him adopting this idea, with embodying, him being a John, right? And working the neighborhood and working the schools on kids who cannot get laid, let alone ones who don't deem it worthy.
Sure.
Of spending $60 or whatever it was, like $40. Then I think like it adds some more realism to kind of a fantastical movie.
Right.
It grounds it in ways. And then of course I would have made a lot of these things I would have established earlier. I would establish like Lana's love for trains and a little waxing poetic about what trains mean for her earlier on. I would have put Dad's, like I've always been telling you, fucking Christ, Dad. No, you haven't. I heard it once at the end of the movie. Your dad says you've always been telling you. Have them say it on the phone call when they check in from the hotel in some respect.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got that Princeton interview coming up. Feel free to really let your personality shine. Take some chances. Like I've always been telling you, Joel. Sometimes you got to say what the heck. Whatever it is. Like little script doctory things kind of throughout this thing.
Sure.
Yeah, along those lines, if they had kept the ending that they originally wanted, that doesn't like correct all the problems you're talking about, but it does go along.
Color them a little differently?
It colors it a little differently, where it kind of establishes the whole movie as like being, yeah, we pulled all this stuff off, but this isn't really real life, and things are different, to be honest.
Yeah, and also like we went through this thing. We went through this really dramatic week, and it changed us. It certainly changed Joel, but there are repercussions to that, and there was fallout, and there were casualties to it. Maybe Lana is a casualty in that, in a weird way, even if she did have something to do with all of his stuff being taken. I didn't know about this alternate ending. I kind of instinctively like it.
It's on YouTube. You can find it.
Yeah. Like it better.
Their screen test is actually on YouTube, too. You can watch the whole recorded screen test with them in the producer's living room. And I think that's super fascinating, too. But
this was John Avnet, right? Producer on this?
Avnet was one of the two producers. There's Avnet and Steve Tisch. Yeah.
Avnet, a name that Josh and I will get to later on in this podcast, I believe. Not this episode. But do you know what he directed?
Did he direct Neverending Story?
No. Well, I don't know how much I want to give away here, but it has something to do with Saran Wrap.
No clue.
Okay, we can cut this if need be. He directed Fried Green Tomatoes.
Oh, well, that will have probably dropped before this. So.
I just didn't. I wanted to make sure, but yeah, Avnet is Fried Green Tomatoes guy.
Are y'all doing that?
Hell yeah.
We recorded it a while ago.
We recorded it with a podcast host.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you had
hosts from SVU Pod.
You had St. Elmo's Fire and what, like Phase 4? Isn't Phase 4 the Ant movie?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that on TV.
It's so good. I bought it. I own Phase 4 now. I have like the 4K
I saw that
Blu-ray
once
now.
as a kid because they showed it on TV, and I don't think I've seen it since. But I remember it.
You know who directed it, right? Saul Bass.
Well, okay. That's
It's a lot trippier, and it's a bolder vision than you might be thinking it is.
okay.
I welcome our ant overlords. They can come whenever they want.
They're late.
I don't think I gave a fix for this yet, have I? So there are two big, huge things that you cannot have the car go in the lake. You're never going to get the lake out of the car. So that has to be fixed. I think you also need to tweak Joel's character some to make things track a little better. So, whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, if that car goes in the lake, Josh, you have to buy a new Porsche.
Yeah. You need to come up with 90K or whatever.
Yeah, but then
He said he
then
made-
you've got the Ferris Bueller problem. What do you do about the mileage?
He's not going to complain about getting a new car, I don't think.
He might want to know why.
Yeah,
he's getting a new
sure.
car.
Then you tell your
Uh-huh.
dad the car was stolen, you know. But
Yeah, that's
But I
probably
fixed
more
it.
realistic.
I fixed the problem.
Yeah, just like we had sex workers in your bed, and
We also, was the equalizer... I bet the equalizer was messed with. We never get a follow-up on the equalizer being different levels when his dad gets home again.
he doesn't have time
yeah,
because Guido probably fucking messed with that.
yeah.
Okay, so saving graces. What was your favorite moment or element of the film? Starting again with Scott, our guest.
Oh man, my favorite moment.
Or it can be like an aspect of the film. It doesn't need to be like a scene.
Yeah, there's something early in the movie when they're trying to establish how awkward his character is. So there's the opening dream sequence where even in his dream he can't have sex, and he ends up not only can he not have sex with a girl, he ends up botching his SAT and doesn't get into college. But I can't remember if it's the exact next scene, but there's a scene where he's with his male friends and he's over at this girl who I guess it's her last name's Kessler.
I think it's the mom. I think it's the neighborhood mom.
Wait, he's with a mom?
I think that they're talking about Mrs. Kessler.
Oh, okay.
So I think that this is like you couldn't close the deal with this mom who wants to bone you or whatever. I think that's what's going on, but
Really?
I'm not
I
100%.
I missed that. I didn't get that at all. I just assumed it was another girl. Well, anyway, I'm sorry. For my part, I'm going to
Again, I could be wrong.
I'm going to assume it was another girl just because that's what I had in my head. But I don't know. I'd have to go back. If I missed that, that's a big miss on my part.
I was taking a super long note about the dream, and so it's possible I jumbled shit up. So,
Okay. Well, anyway, my assumption is like he's with a girl. She's down, and even though he's telling the story like, all right, here's the big buildup, and then all of a sudden he goes silent, and one of his jerkier friends is like, oh, I just bet you went home and beat off.
yeah.
And then Miles is like, wait, you had your bike with you, right? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I bet you rode home on your bike and beat off. And he was like, that's actually that's a pretty funny line. It's one of the
Yep.
funniest lines in the movie. But also it's just, it's funny to me that Joel is volunteering the story with this big buildup, and yet the payoff is him being humiliated because he was with a girl who definitely wanted to have sex with him, and yet he could
And
not
he
go
couldn't
through
close
with
the
it.
deal.
But he's getting mocked for it. It's one of those things where at that age, social interactions can be so cruel. It's like he's with his best friends, and they're still mocking him mercilessly for not being able to. There's no sympathy at all, even though for most of them they probably would have done the same thing. They're just mocking him for it.
Right.
So I think that does a good job of establishing where his character's coming from when he finally goes through with it.
Yeah. Sean?
Honestly, this movie could be much, much worse. This movie could be nearly unwatchable. But Rebecca De Mornay's in it.
Yeah.
And there is no discounting how beautiful Rebecca De Mornay is in this movie.
Yeah.
This is and neither discounting her impact on this movie. This movie probably does well with, Sharon Stone or whoever else read for this, as Josh mentioned earlier.
Kim Basinger.
But in each and every scene, Rebecca De Mornay walks in and stops hearts. Like, it is ridiculous how
Yeah.
good she looks in this movie. The
Yeah.
first time we see her in this lavender dress and heels, and then, like, within, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes of screen time, we have a brief flash of full frontal.
Yeah.
And then various sex scenes around a house.
Mhm.
The next day in the pink top and jeans. I mean, you have to, like, we have to give a special shout out to the costume design on this movie, specifically for Rebecca De Mornay.
That was her outfit, I'm pretty sure, because that's the outfit she is wearing in the screen test that they shot at the producer's house.
Well,
Like,
God
that
bless
shirt
them
is
for
hers.
keeping that in there.
There's nothing in this movie that's quite as iconic on the level as Phoebe Cates and Fast Times,
Sure.
but it's pretty close.
Close.
And like I
But
say,
Phoebe
for me,
Cates, there's no point in Fast Times at Ridgemont High that Phoebe Cates gives any character a look the way that
that is true.
Rebecca De Mornay gives Joel when they are testing out mattresses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cinematographers in this movie, plural, knew how to light her. She is a femme fatale through most of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
In a
camera-
teen comedy.
The camera
Yeah.
just lingers on her at these moments, and one, it's establishing she knows more than anybody else in the film, but also she's just like
She
I say,
looks amazing in a Princeton sweatshirt.
yeah.
right?
The criticisms we're talking about this when I'm watching it at a younger age, it's like I'd be telling.
Oh, forget
both of y'all
about it.
to
This is
fuck
this is
off.
one of the
It's
biggest
just
barometers.
how dare you criticize this movie? Look
This
at
is
it.
one of the, like, a very clear litmus test for an adolescent's sexuality.
Yeah.
Like, we know at the end of this movie, if you're in that age, if you are drawn to Rebecca De Mornay, homosexuality is probably not your thing. Like, the look that we end this movie in, right?
Yeah.
Like this.
I mean, I think she's appealing to someone pretty far towards the other end of the Kinsey scale, too. Like,
yeah, very
it-
much.
Yeah.
Like, and even, like, kind of nodding to that kind of femme fatale character, she has a fedora in the bordello party scene, right? She has, like, this sport coat with maybe a mini skirt. I mean, the way that coat
Yeah.
is cut, it is pretty long. So it could just
It's
be...
like the Princeton sweatshirt that has never looked better on anyone
No.
in the history of mankind.
And to end that movie with this kind of braless dress with the little black bow tie kind of, or ribbon around her neck. I mean, I know Rebecca De Mornay's career didn't take off the way that Tom Cruise's did, but the allure and magnetism of Rebecca De Mornay in this movie is equal or greater than any kind of sex appeal that we have in Tom Cruise and his tighty whities.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous how good this actress looks in this movie.
Yep.
And again, this is not a bad movie, but it could have been much worse and still made, what, 60 million or something if you had her when you did.
Kind of a perfect storm casting-wise for both of them.
I mean, it's only after watching this, guys, that I finally see what Harry Dean Stanton saw in her.
My favorite element is the Tangerine Dream score. I think it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they nailed it.
Yeah, it's really great. I mean, they've been doing such good work, both in film scores and out for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, the score. I mean, the soundtrack of this movie. There's some huge hits.
Oh,
and
yeah.
some
And the Air
huge
Tonight,
bangers.
Hungry Heart. Yeah.
In the Air Tonight makes no sense, like, when it shows up in this movie.
But it sounds good, so I don't really care.
It sounds good, yeah.
And it's before they're not even having sex yet. They're waiting.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
ready to
yeah.
get off
I
the
mean, I
train.
guess it's building to the
Right.
Tangerine Dream taking over.
Yeah.
But Tangerine Dream, as I said earlier, is a character in this movie. It lends credence and weight to the dream stuff and the fantasy elements of this movie. It's doing a lot of work. Whatever they were paid for this movie, they weren't
Yeah.
paid enough. But yeah, it's pretty great. It does not even feel dated,
No.
no.
for a 40-year-old movie.
So, Scott, you were looking forward to revisiting Risky Business, but had some trepidation that kids doing stupid shit might undermine your enjoyment of Risky Business as a grown man. Did it weather the storm?
Yeah, I think so. We all have our complaints about it.
Sure.
You see things through a different lens as you get older. But yeah, I think it holds up. It doesn't hold up as good as The Jazz Singer, but you could have picked that. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, sorry, we should have.
Was Rebecca De Mornay in that?
No, I think it was Lucy.
Then I'm glad that we picked this.
Yeah. No, the other one, it came down to this or Nightmare on Elm Street. I think Risky Business. That was the better pick. I think there's more to talk about with this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been like an hour if we did.
Yeah. No, I think it holds up. Like I say,
yeah.
We all have our gripes about it, but I think overall it's a good movie. I mean, it is very much of its time, but you don't watch it now and it doesn't come across as like clunky or anything like that.
Right.
It still works.
Yeah. The things that are 1983 about it work.
Yeah.
And are sort of timeless.
Right. And just the part about adolescents getting themselves into terrible situations and trying to figure out their way out of it, that's universal.
Uh-huh. So before we say goodbye to listeners at home, where can they find you, Scott?
Easiest way to find me is just get on the web and type in scottlucas.com. Like I say, I don't hardly ever write anything about movies except once a year. I throw on a list of what maybe I saw in Criterion or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I write about baseball. If you have any interest at all in the Texas Rangers, I think you will like what I have to write.
Yep.
I do donations every year, but basically nobody has to pay anything. It's free. It just shows up in your inbox.
I'm a subscriber. I've been a subscriber for, Jesus, at least a decade now.
Yeah, and I haven't booked it yet because there was weird work and other stuff going on, but hopefully, in about 10, it's coming up sooner than I thought. Hopefully in 10 days, I'll be out in Arizona.
Nice. For listeners, it's beginning of March when we're recording this. So Scott will be in Arizona for spring
I'll
training.
be out there for the tail end of spring training.
Yeah. He'll be on the backfields.
Yes.
So, Scott, thank you for subjecting your fond memories of a movie featuring teens frequenting sex workers to the scrutiny of the Unkind Rewind.
Yeah, no, this was a blast. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, super fun. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Scott. I now know I'm straight.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry it took you this long, but congratulations on your discovery.
I finally got there.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks.
That was another installment of the Unkind Rewind, mining our childhood for content, one film from a guest's past at a time. Unkind Rewind is a Munchcasts production and can be listened to wherever you download your podcasts and watched on the Unkind Rewind YouTube channel. Music for this and every other episode of Unkind Rewind was composed by Divorcio Suave. Rate, review, like, and subscribe to Unkind Rewind on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and Good Pods. Links to all of our social media accounts are in our show notes, but you'll find us as at Unkind Rewind Pod on Letterboxd and nearly every social media platform, all of which can be found at our website, unkindrewind.com. If you have a question, concern, complaint, or feedback, you can email the podcast at unkindrewindpod@gmail.com or call into our call-in line, area code 507-479-6440, and leave a message that can be played on air. Fans should join the Munchcast Discord to discuss this or any other episode of the Unkind Rewind with like-minded people. This dialogue may just make it into a future episode of the pod. The Unkind Rewind Patreon will be coming soon, so start squirreling that pocket change away. Thank you for listening to the Unkind Rewind.